Hey everyone, how are you? I have got a fun project that I'm going to do real quick. This is pretty quick and simple, at least I think so. It should be if it goes according to plan. So I've got this coffee container that I really like the size of it, and it fits perfectly where I have it in my little corner of my kitchen. But I want to make it prettier, so I'm going to decoupage some pretty paper on here, so it kind of it looks prettier, you know? It doesn't look like something I bought from the store. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this paper that is actually from my Coffee Lovers Junk Journal kit. This is the collage page, and I just really love all the old vintage kettles and just all the old vintage coffee stuff, so I'm going to use it. So let's get started, shall we? I'm going to, actually my light is having a terrible glare. I'm trying out this non-stick mat for the first time, so I hope it really works, because I'm going to be using a lot of Mod Podge, and I didn't want to get all over my table, so I'm going to see if this really works, if it keeps things nice and clean. But the glare is horrible from my light, so I'm going to, let's see, I'll stick that there for now, as long as I don't mess it up. So, all right, so the first thing is going to be, I'm going to cut off this plasticky kind of thing, paper that they have on here. So, let me see, they have... Oh, well, maybe I can just peel it off. Maybe I can peel it off even better. Ha ha ha. I didn't even think about that. Well, maybe not. Let me cut a little bit here. I had to cut my nails because this nail had actually kind of chipped and ripped, so I had to cut it short. And so I had to cut the rest of my nails short too to make it match, and now I don't have nails to use for my crafts. Let's see. I don't think I have to get all of it off. There we go. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. Okay, so the only part that's going to be a little bit questionable will be where they glued it together. Well, that came out much cleaner than I thought. That's great. I'm going to try to get as much of this off as I can, because I'm afraid it might affect my paper that I want to put on. But I also don't want to ruin the surface either. I think this will be okay, as long as there's nothing sticking up and flapping around. Okay, I think I'm all right with that. Oh, that smells good. Smells like coffee. Imagine that. Okay, let me throw all this stuff away. So, time to measure. This paper, instead of going, I don't think I want it like this, because it's all kind of more, I think it'll look better this way. So, which turns out to be just fine, because if let's measure this. Let me double check this again here. I measured it earlier, but if I go from rim to rim, that's about 5 1/4. So yeah, that works out perfectly. If I cut this in half, I'll even have a little bit extra room to play with. So let me cut this in half. I'm going to get my trusty slicer. So what did I say, 5 1/4? I'm horrible with numbers. Yes, 5 1/4. It's actually just a little bit less than 5 1/4, but let me start there, and then I can always trim it later. So 5 1/4. Yeah, okay. 5 1/4. And then 5 1/4. All right. Okay, so it's not going to, obviously, it's not going to reach all the way around. I will have this spot here, but that's okay. That's why it's great to have 2 halves. I can do it like that. But let me think what parts I want to show. I really like this, everything that's on here, so I think I'll have that be the whole piece. And then I like the Lord Calvert coffee too. So actually, I'm going to have it overlap a little bit so that it's not just, edge to edge. There's enough room to overlap. So I'm going to say, like about here. So that is, that's about 5 1/2. Okay, so let me cut, let me use my little guy for this. Oh, except that I'm going to mark it. Hang on. Oh gosh, it's been one of those days. Sometimes, oh my goodness. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this today. It's one of those days where my brain is going a million miles an hour on several different things, and I can't seem to master any of any of my thoughts. So, okay. Where did I make my mark? Right there. So roughly about there. I can't bear to throw that away, so we'll see. Maybe I can do something with that later. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the short part first. I'm going to cover the ugliness there. I'm going to use that to do that. Now, I don't know if you can see. Let me see if I can show you. It's actually like a hair too long. I kind of want it to sit inside the rim, so I'm going to be very daring and try to trim it. But I have to be careful, because if I do it too much, then it's gonna show too much of the can, and I don't want that either. Oh goodness, I don't even know if this will cut that. It'll cut that that narrow of a strip. Oh, well, it tried. It tried. Okay, let me finish that off with the scissors, if I can. Let's see, did I cut that straight? Ah, yes, now it sits nicely. And I didn't, or I cut, it's just a little bit off. Okay. Goodness gracious, it's still just a little bit off. Let me try. Let me try, hang on. It's good to get this all sorted out before you put the glue down. Trust me, I learned that the hard way. Okay. All right, so let me go ahead and measure out. Yeah, oh, this one's a little bit longer, so I've got a little bit more to cut off on this one. I think that might cut cleaner. Let's try. It moved on me a little bit, didn't it? Okay. Ah, yes. Ah, lovely. Okay. But I'm going to glue this one down first, just to kind of get a good feel for it. It's a smaller piece of paper, so I can practice a little bit easier on this one. So, all right. So I'm gonna get my Mod Podge, and I have good intentions, and I always, mean to clean off my brush after I use Mod Podge, but I always get sidetracked, and then lo and behold, the brush is ruined. So I just get a bunch of these cheapies, and they actually work really well, I think. So I'm going to really douse this. And I printed this out on regular paper, the regular 20-pound paper, because I think that the thicker it is, it'd be more difficult to work with. So the thinner the paper in this case, the better. Usually I like thicker paper, but not in this case. So, and I'm testing to see how well this mat is going to work. Actually, I can tell it's beating up, so it's not like, I think it'll be easy to clean, I hope. So, get it all good and squishy. You actually kind of want it to be squishy. And if you get some on the front, that's okay, because we're going to be doing another coat on the front. Yes, we are. So, okay, I'm not trying to do it so you can see on the camera, but I may have to do it like this first, because that puppy's going to roll around on me. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I've got a little bit of time to work with it. I'm going to start at the top here. Just kind of from the middle, get all the bubbles out. Ooh, see, look at that. No wrinkles, please. And you know what? If it kind of rearranges itself, and I need to trim some off later, I can always do that with the X-Acto knife. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world if it doesn't line up as good as I'd originally hoped. But okay, there. It's wanting to shift on me a little bit, but if you just kind of work with it, Mod Podge doesn't dry like super fast, so it does give you some time. Actually, that worked out quite well. And be careful though, because when it's soaked like this in Mod Podge, the paper will be easier to rip. So don't go too crazy with, your nails. Talking to myself here now. Don't go too crazy with the nails, because you can always, put it in here, like get it in the groove really good. If you're not careful, you might actually rip it. And this one's wanting to give me wrinkles right here, but that's okay. And, wrinkles will make it look a little more vintage too, maybe. That's not the worst thing. So, okay, that's on there pretty good. All right. Okay. So now let's do the same thing with this guy. Get it good and wet. And soaked through. I think I like this mat. That is pretty cool. I ordered it off Amazon, and I was expecting something much thicker, like a almost like a rubber mat, but it's actually really, I don't know if you can see, it's really thin. It's almost like paper almost. Whoops, I'm dripping everywhere. It's much thinner than I expected. I thought, what is this? I actually, when I got it, I didn't know what it was. I'm like, what is this? Who ordered this for me? What is going on here? I realized, ew, that's my mat. But I think so far it's working quite nicely. Protecting my tabletop. We'll see how easy it is to clean off later when I'm done here. It's just not laying as flat as I'd like it to lay, but maybe that's just because it's new. It came rolled up, so it's still. Oops! See, look it. It's wanting to. Okay. All right. Now, let me get this off. Ooh, gotta be really careful. I soaked this pretty good. All right. So now I'm going to start, well, if it stopped rolling around. Okay, I'm gonna start about here, overlap it just a little. Gave myself about 1/4 of an inch for overlapping. And I'm gonna start at the top, make sure the top is lined up. Because if something's not lined up, I'd rather have it be the bottom, I think. It'll be maybe a little bit neater. If I have to trim that off, it'll look better. And while I'm at it, I might as well get all the bubbles out as I'm going around. Oh, I give myself a lot more. Wow. I think, is that too much? Because I kind of wanted the Lord Calvert, but I really like this too. All right, I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it because I think I like that the best. So that's pretty smooth. Get all the wrinkles out. But again, be very careful as I'm rubbing this, because I've got glue on my fingers and there's a little bit of, not glue, but the Mod Podge. There's a little bit on the front now, and if I'm not careful, it'll tear things, or maybe even take some of the ink off. And that's the other thing I wanted to mention. If you print out a paper, make sure that it's been printed and drying for a while. I printed this paper out several hours ago, because if you start Mod Podging on freshly printed paper, I'm afraid the ink might start, blurring and blending and not looking great. So, but this should be good. It's been several hours since I printed this paper. So, all right, I'm liking this. This is nice and smooth, no air bubbles. So now, to make sure this is really going to be sturdy and weatherproof, so to speak, kitchen proof, put another layer of Mod Podge all the way around. And when it dries, it'll dry nice and clear. Now I don't want to get too goopy. I want to have a nice thin layer. I can always go back around and touch it up a little bit, but Okay, I'm going to let this dry, and we'll come right back to it as soon as it's dry. All right? Okay, guys, it's been probably about an hour, and it is now dry to the touch. It's probably a little bit tacky still, so I'm not gonna throw coffee in there quite yet and put it in the kitchen quite yet. But I really like the way this turned out. I did have a little bit of a bubble that turned out here, and I just want to give you a tip. I pressed it down with my nail, with my fingernail. I had a little spot over here that I was pushing down with my finger, and the paper wanted to stick to my finger, and it was starting to like come off the ink, and I was able to fix it. I don't think you can really tell anymore, but there was a bubble here too, so I used my nail so it didn't stick as much, and I was able to push it back down while it was still a little bit tacky. But I am very happy with how this turned out. And while I was waiting for it to dry, I experimented with the lid. I'm not sure how I feel about this yet. But this was on the scrap piece of paper that I had cut off from here. And so I just tore around this cool vintage kettle, and I inked the edges black, which I thought would go nicely with the black lid. So when it's on, it will, I'll see that from the top, this from the bottom. I'm not sure yet. I'm honestly not sure yet if I'm gonna like that or not. I may take it off and just have a black lid. I don't know. I kind of like it. Anyway, there you have it. A really fun and really easy, quite easy way to dress up a container with good old Mod Podge. Yeah, it's amazing. So I hope you enjoyed it and got some inspiration. If you're interested in this paper, like I said before, I believe, it is in my Coffee Lovers Junk Journal kit, and I'll put a link to that below if you're interested in that, and you can grab yourself that and make a few fun coffee items, if not a journal. All right, you guys have a good time creating.